everybody. Welcome to Badge Banter, where we feature some awesome stories from some of our amazing partners about the importance of the ID badge as a foundation of an organization's overall security efforts. I'm Lindsay Martinez from Badge Pass, and today I'm super excited to be here with Chris Wilson from Mead and Hunt. Chris, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for the opportunity. Looking forward to it.
Well, before we kind of dive into your story, why don't you do us a favor and just kind of tell us a little bit about Mead and Hunt, but also your background in the security industry.
Sure. So I've been in the industry 25 years. I spent my first 15 years as an integrator. So started boots on the ground doing a technician work, worked up through the normal sides of project engineering, operations management as the integrator. And then the last 10 years of my career, I've been on the manufacturer and consulting side, working for a couple manufacturers. Today, I'm with another consulting firm after founding my own, Mead and Hunt. So I head the physical security group at Mead and Hunt, where we're a full suite architect engineering consulting firm, and I look after the physical security group in making sure that we get the right solutions out there for the clients to solve the challenges that they have as we either build or upfit a new building for them.
I like it. So you're all things security, doors, cyber, you name it. You talk security all day, every day. And that'll be fun. So today I'm excited to add a little bit of a badge perspective to the security conversation. So when you talk about badges, specifically like physical IDs and how people wear them, there's multiple components to why that's important. So from your perspective and the many different angles that you've had in this industry, where does the physical and visual ID really come into play, and what other use cases are there for that credential?
Sure. Yeah, so a lot of the high security environments we use, obviously, we do a lot of DoD, non-DoD work in some of the different agencies and things. We get into the high security, and I think it's interesting because a lot of people assimilate having that badge displayed in a high security environment, but there's a lot of corporate environments now where they still want to have a badge physically displayed, and I think that still has the relevance of why it's important. I think the other part for me that jumps out a lot is there's this conversation around the terms that we use, right? The identification, the authorization, and the I'm spacing out. The identification, the authentication, and the authorization, and we're using these words in the industry interchangeable, but the reality is they're very, very different, and I think the physical badge is still super relevant for that identification of, I've got that physical badge, I've got the image there, it tells them who I am and where I'm supposed to be often with the badge that I'm carrying.
So definitely it acts as an identifier. Speak to the other two, the authentication and authorization, like where does that come into play and what other things do you need to accomplish that?
Well, I think the first part is authentication, right? Is the badge authentic? Has it been cloned? Has it been, revoked? Like, is it an authentic badge and is it working the way that it should? And then authorization, do I have access to this asset, a door, a machine, a laptop, if it's logical, any number of other ones. And I think that many times we don't think about these as three independent pillars, but they really truly are, and how they function is independently different. And it's making sure that, again, we have that physical badge only covers a portion of it. Tapping it at a door only covers a portion of it. Is it truly a badge? Is it, with the PKI and various cyber requirements to make sure it's not been cloned or compromised? It's still making sure that we keep those high security badges the way they should be.
I think that comes back to consistently, I feel like I constantly preach this message of it's just a piece, like it's a layer in so many layers of your security. And while it might be one of the easiest pieces to implement and it might be one of the first ones that you implement, it's pretty useless if everybody's wearing a badge and no one is trained that like everyone has to wear a badge. And if they're not, like here's what you do, and here's what our badges should look like, and here's what a non-real badge looks like, and here's how you use the badge. So it's not like you get to just print it and put it on people and then be like, we're done. Like, it's secure now.
Yeah.
Go down.
Yeah, it's not a set it and forget it. And there's often we often have conversations around, right, you're exactly right. What is the badge supposed to look like? How do you identify if it's not a proper badge? We even go into the operational side of if you see a badge that's not appropriate, or if you see somebody that's in the wrong area, we found them because they weren't wearing the right one or a clone badge or whatever, what are you supposed to do about it? Because oftentimes people will, do you just pull out your phone and take a picture? Do you call somebody? Do you approach them and engage? Like, what's the right answer there? And there's a lot of the operational side as well as to what happens next. We don't just let them keep going. That's usually not the right answer, but how do you handle that appropriately, and educating and training employees and staff on that piece as well.
Well, if you never tell anybody what the right answer is, then the right answer to them would be, I'm just going to let this person keep going because it's not very comfortable to do anything different. And so think about it. If you're like a nurse in a hospital and you're like, what do I do? Or a teacher or something like that. I mean, you got to do the training and all of the operational side that goes along with any security implementation, whether that's a badge or any other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're exactly right. Nobody wants to. Most people, the answer is not confront the person and say, "Hey, get out of here. You're not supposed to be here." Right? We're conflict avoidant. I mean, you know, I grew up in the South, so you hold the door open for somebody. You be polite, right? And that's tailgating in the security world that we don't want. And so, you know, polite typically wins, but the reality is that's not secure in many ways. So give them some education and some best practices on what to do. Will also keep that displayed badge secure so that you've got people in the right way.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk about everybody's favorite topic in the security industry and the mobile versus physical badge discussion. And so I've always been pretty vocal about my opinions on them, so I don't think they're a secret necessarily. But where do you kind of come into play? What are your thoughts on physical badges and then mobile badges and how they either work together or replace one another potentially?
Sure. So I think most of the systems that I work with clients on, we offer mobile as an option. But I can't think of a single system that I've done in the last couple of years since mobile has kind of had this uptick where it's exclusively mobile. And I think that generally speaking, most of the clients that I get, you get somewhere between 10 and 20% of the staff that say, yes, I'll put this on my phone. And most of the time people go, no, I don't want another app. I don't even want it in my wallet. I want a physical badge, and that's the preference. I think the other part is we've been talking a lot about this visual identification with a badge. I see the physical badge as an external identifier, whereas mobile, I have to self-identify. I have to unlock my phone and be willing to show you, right? We can put your photo on your badge in your mobile device, but can you convince the person in the moment to unlock their phone to validate that they should be there? Or from 20 feet away, can I see that their badge is displayed? So I think there's a place for convenience with mobile credentials. I don't think it's a replacement. I think there are times when it's nice. I'll officially say I don't have any mobile access credentials myself. I don't have anything in I'm not a user of any mobile credentials at the moment, but I tend to, even in our office, we're offering those to employees. We have 40-something offices. We're going to offer those. I have elected to maintain a physical badge to get access. I have not elected to go on the mobile platform, and I just don't necessarily think it's there yet. I think there's still going to be use cases. I think the market will pick up, but I don't think we're going away from physical badges. I think in my career, I think we're going to still have those around, and it's not going to be everybody just carrying their mobile device around and nothing else. I just don't think we're there.
No, I agree with you. But I'm going to kind of go back to what you said because it's an interesting point, and I've made it myself several times. If you talked about like self-identifying versus it's an external identifier, and I think about this often. If you have two people, so let's just say it's you and me, and I work at a building and you don't, and I'm being Southern and nice, and I open the door and let you in, and we're using mobile credentials and not physical badges to identify that we belong there. Like we get in the building, I use my phone to open the door, and we're both inside. And then once we're in, like, how does anybody know that Lindsay's supposed to be there and Chris is not supposed to be there? Mm-hmm. Because I have no external identifier. And so at that point, I either have to assume that neither Lindsay or Chris belong, like both of us don't belong, or I have to assume that Lindsay and Chris both do belong. And either one has its flaws. Like, we're all in. I'm either everybody's good or everybody's bad. And that doesn't really work either. And then you add that extra layer of now I've got to interact with every single person to validate whether they belong or not. Yeah. And so I think that's a great point that you made there.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, and we see devices right for tailgating, so we try and prevent the Southern hospitality of leaving the door open and letting somebody through, and that every person has to sat. But the reality is that even in those environments, I can only think of one place in a lot of airports you see where every staff member taps because they have been so ingrained and so, when you open a jetway bridge, every person goes through, or they'll close the door behind and make the next person badge. I would say they're generally much better in that environment, but that's not the rule, right? And that's the corporate world. Mm-hmm. They're going to, be a Southern person and open the door and let somebody in. Hey, come on, y'all, come on in. It's, it's just how it works. And I think that's where the physical badge still has a lot of relevancy. Whether I can tap my watch or tap my phone, I just don't think it's a replacement to still have that visual identifier. Get a lanyard that you really like. You got it displayed. You're not going to carry your phone on a lanyard. That's just not going to...
No.
That's not going to happen, right? So I think it's, have a fun lanyard, have a badge holder that you really like, and, you can have it displayed.
I want to be fair to Northerners too. You also hold the doors open for people, so this is
We do. We do. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess it's that Southern hospitality that I typically associate. But fair comment.
Yeah. So, well, this is a super good discussion. I always love having unique perspectives, and you've got a ton of experience and just worlds of expertise to bring to the table. And so I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today, Chris, and just kind of sharing some of your insights.
Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks again for being here, and we hope you'll join us next time as we take you beyond the badge.